I was born in Leicester, 1922, and I lived in Leicester till I was married. But I went in the Land Army, I should think I was about 18, I'm not sure. I've got the dates at home. I started off in a dairy farm. I used to take the milk round with a horse and trap every day of the week. I used to bike 7 miles to the farm. Then I took the milk round on this pony and trap round the village. And the horse got to know every house I got to. And it got to know the last road. When I was on the last road, I had to run down to leave the milk because the horse never stopped. It kept going step by step. And I came out one day and it had gone. It had gone home. And I had to walk all the way back to the farm with my bucket, you know. And when I got there, the horse was there, but there was no traffic about, you see, then, so it was all right. I did that for about two to 3 years, every day of the week. And then I got to the farmer used to take the milk to the farm, and he said to me, if ever you want to change your job, come and work for me. So I did. And that was a beast on the farm, cows and sheep and that. And I was there till I finished. And I enjoyed every minute of it. It was hard work. We did everything, you know, haymaking, muck spreading and everything. And in the winter I lived in. But in the summer I used to bike home at night and go back in the morning. And I did that for about 4.5 years. And then I finished. And I got my boyfriend who was in the army, he was a prisoner of war. When he came from prisoner of war camp, I asked if I could be moved nearer to Leicester so that I could live at home all the while. And they put me on the sewerage farm. And I worked there with another girl, there was 2 of us. We didn't do land work, we did like pulling rhubarb and things like that, you know. And I did that for about 12 months, I should think. Then I finished, then I got married. She was in Germany, yes, at Arnhem, trying to get through to the Arnhem boys. They were trying to release the Arnhem boys, and he got captured. And he was only prisoner of war for 7 months, but when he came back he only weighed 8 stone. It's terrible. For a long time, the doctor said I'd got to well, I wasn't married then, but his mother had to feed him up and feed him well, because he'd got to pick up such a lot, you know. He'd lost such a lot of weight, and he looked so ill. And they said if you don't feed him up, you could lose him, because he was so ill. But
how did you come to meet him?
I used to go with a girl, 2 of us used to go to a dancing school in Leicester. And I met him there, at this dancing school, when I was 16. And I went with him all the time. Yeah, he used to go learning dancing. And then they used to have a dance every so often, and we started going out to these dances, and that was it.
What work did he do once he remained in this country?
Well, he used to, when he left school, he went in the bakery, then he had to go in the army. When he came out of the army, he joined the police force. He was on the police force till he retired. He did over 30 years of the police force. Then he retired. And we used to look after a caravan site. We worked for the caravan club. We used to look after the site there, you know, do all the groundwork and all the booking in and everything. And we started off in Cumbria, right. And it was lovely up there. We did from March till October, and our daughter lived in the village, so she was able to keep her eye on the house. And we did Cumbria, then we did one in Yorkshire, and then we did one in Leicestershire, where we originated from. And then one winter, the boss of the caravan site rang up Alan and asked him if he'd like to go to Sutton-on-sea. And I said, where's that? I'd never heard of it. So we came to Sutton-on-sea, and we didn't like the site very much. It was very busy and it had got toilets on it. We never had one with toilets on. We had to have special people to come and clean the toilets. Anyway, we did 12 months there. While we were there, we were looking around at the property, and we saw a bungalow that we liked, but we didn't put a name down on it. We came back the next year, but not as wardens, as just ordinary people on the site. And while we were there, we bought a bungalow and we came and lived here. And that's how we got to Sutton-on-sea.
Going back to the war, are there any particular things that you remember about it? Any particular experiences?
Well, I can remember on the dairy farm I used to, well, I mean, where the were all dairy farms really, but on this particular one, the last one I went to, I used to feed the calves, the babies, and that was a lovely job, feeding them when the mothers rejected them. And the bull calf he picked out, he wanted to breed this bull calf, and I had the job of looking after it, you see. And it was lovely, and it grew, and it grew, and it grew, and I used to take it out on a rope. It had a thing through its nose, and I used to take it around the field on a rope. And I said to the farmer one day, I says, I think this is getting a bit too big for me to take out. So he says, why? I says, well, look at the size of it, it's as big as me. He says, well, it'll never hurt you. He says, you've brought it up and it knows you as his mother. So I carried on until in the end it was too big, and then it, you know, bred with it. And that packed up with, lost my son. Yeah.
When you were at the farm, how many people were there?
Well, there was 3 land girls there with me when I first went, but 2 of them were sisters, and they left. And there was a young man, he went to what they call the Desperate Boys School.
When the war ended, did your life just return back to normal?
Well, yes, it did. I got married. Alan came home in the April, I think it was, and we got married in the August. And he joined the police force. And after he joined the police force, he joined the county. There was a county force and the city force. Well, he joined the county, which meant we had to move all around the county. So we weren't really settled. I think 3 years was the longest we did in any village. We did a lot of villages, moved around a lot. But I think I went to work when I came out of the Land Army in an office somewhere for only a few weeks. And then I got married and that was it, never worked again. Mm.
When you were in Leicester, did Leicester suffer any bomb damage?
Yes, it did. I used to go to night school in Leicester, and we came out of this. It was a big college. My friend and I, we lived not too near, but on the way home we were together. And I says to her, look there, says that sky's a bit red. So she said, oh, it's all right, come on. Anyway, I left this girl. She went her way, and I went mine. When I got near home, he dropped some bombs, and it just as though they were dropping them after me, you know. When I got home, my mother wasn't there. She'd gone to the school, to the warden's place, you know, where they used to go, and I had to go and look for her. And she sat at the top of the stairs crying. She said, I can't go down there, it was full of people. But anyway, they all clear went. And then we went home, I took her home, and I heard that there was a landmine had dropped. So I went round to see where this landmine was, and there was a great big hole in the road, and some young girl came round the corner, and she looked and she collapsed, and then the whole of her house had gone, family and everything. And she'd been out, you see, just came home and saw it, a great big hole in the road. And Freeman Hardy and Willis's, they got bombed. But not as bad as Coventry. It dropped these either on the way to Coventry or coming back. Mm.
Are there any other things that you remember about the war years or just after?
No, I remember when the planes went over. I forget when it was, a special occasion, and all these planes went over, and all that were in the field, because the farmer used to have men in to come and help harvesting and that, you know, and we all stood there watching, dozens and dozens of all these planes going over. But there's a hill in Leicester, Moacre Hill. Everybody knows it. And I used to, when I was going to work in the morning on my bike, got no 3-speed or anything in them days, I used to hang on to the back of the lorries, you know, or things like and then I thought, and times I've been stopped because my light was out at night. It used to be dark when I come home some nights, and the bobbies used to stop me, you know. I often thought of that when my husband was a policeman, and he had to prosecute these, and there was me going up these hills on the back of a lorry, holding on, you know, to get a ride up. Different little things that you remember. Yeah. Mm. But I had a good life, it was very good. Money was poor, and I think that's what's made, I've been very fit in my life, very fit, until I had a fall and broke my hip. and this is how it's left me. And they told me that you will walk, eventually, you will walk, but it's a long while, because it was March when I fell. I can walk a bit better, but I won't be without my aids. I've got a frame, which is better than that. That's heavy, but I shall walk. I'm 92 next year, so I've made it. I'm going to walk for my 92nd birthday.